So it's been a while since I've done a vinyl collection video or like a pickup video, like I was doing for a little while. And I've still been hunting for records, digging for records as much as ever, if not more. So I thought it might be cool to just put another video out. And then I got to looking at all the stuff I've actually picked up over the last couple years, and it just doesn't make sense to try to document all of that. So I was thinking about what might be more interesting. And I think a lot of collectors like myself, I think it's a lot more fun to find records in the wild than it is to just order stuff online. And I mean, I think everybody orders things that they've been looking for, and sometimes the only way you can find it is just to go on Discogs, go on eBay and just buy it. But it's a lot of fun going into a store, not knowing what you're gonna find, and then finding something dope cheap, which is even better. So I'm just gonna be going through dollar bin records and like flea market records and thrift store records. All the stuff I'm gonna show in this video is stuff that I've found in the wild at those places unexpectedly, basically. So first off, I know a lot of people are into LPs, so I'm gonna go over some of the stuff I found at flea markets, which has more stuff on the LP side. Then I'm gonna get into more of the 12-inch singles, some of the random rap stuff, and some of the stuff I found like while traveling for work. So alright, so I'm gonna jump into flea market stuff. There's a guy that goes to our local flea market pretty often, and he's always got a mixed bag of records. You really never know what to expect. About like 3 out of 4 times I don't find anything that great, but it always makes it eventually it always is worthwhile to keep checking, because I found some pretty dope things over the last couple years with this guy. So one day last summer, I just kind of randomly went out on a Saturday morning, and he had a couple crates of LPs. So I'm gonna show some of the things I picked up from this guy that day. We got Onyx, Back the Fuck Up, first Onyx album. UMC's Fruits of Nature on Wild Pitch. Crew, Dirty 30, 2 LPs. This one's kind of dope. It's got the gold promo stamp. Dub Shack, This Is the Shack. Dub Shack on Def Jam. These guys were part of Warren G's crew from Long Beach. He did a little production on that album. And then these next two were pretty crazy to me. Nas Illmatic, this is the US first press. I had the UK version, and you know, from the release, like the first press, but it was the UK version. I never had the US one. So this was in the crates. Sick. And this is another one that I had but I didn't have. It was Dougie Style Snoop, the original press. So I found out, even though my version came out in the release year, it didn't have G's Up, Hoes Down. The first time this album was released, I guess it was on vinyl, CD, and tape. G's Up, Hoes Down was on the album, and it's on I believe it's on the track list for both. But the cut actually got removed from the album. I don't know if it was a sample clearance issue. I think it was a sample clearance issue. The only way to really tell if it's on the version you have is to listen to it. So I actually got this at the flea market, and seeing it was an early press, I picked it up. It was cheap, and took it home. It actually has G's Up, Hoes Down on it. We got Eric B. and Rakim, Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em. Jungle Brothers, second LP, Straight Out of the Jungle. Cool G Rap, DJ Polo, Killer Cuts. It's like a 2 LP compilation. Public Enemy, Yo Bro Marks the Show. Copy's a little bit worn, but again, it's cheap. Run DMC, King of Rock. Alright, so this next batch, I found all these on the same day too. Just kind of randomly interspersed with the stuff he brought was like a lot of a hip-hop DJ's collection, it looked like. In there we got DJ Quick, Safe and Sound, the 2 LP promo version. Used to be Cool Kyle's copy. I love DJ Quick. I didn't have this album on vinyl, but I played this CD quite a bit when it came out, so it was, needless to say, something I was looking for. And I hadn't found it, so that was awesome. Grand Poobah 2000, second album by Grand Poobah, great record. And what's funny about this is the day I was looking through this guy's records, a friend of mine was with me, and the two albums he's always on the hunt for are Lord Finesse, The Awakening, and Grand Poobah 2000, or at least at the time. He had already looked through the crate that I was looking through, and I pulled this out and showed it to him, and low-key I think he was pretty mad about it for a little while. I ended up giving it to him. I ended up giving the album to him, and being the cool guy that he is, about a week later he bought me a copy off Discogs, a really nice copy. So that was a little funny story behind that. Eazy-E, Straight Off the Streets of Compton. This one's kind of hard to find. I guess a lot of the Ruthless albums on vinyl around that time were not really plentiful. This one goes for like a decent amount. I don't think it's Eazy-E's best album by any means, but still like really awesome to find that. The Youngsters, Pass the Mic with the Pete Rock remix. Das Effects, Real Hip Hop. This version with the white cover, I think it's promo. Might not, yeah, it is promo version. So I've got the black cover with the camouflage sticker, but I never had the white version. I think I had like actually 2 or 3 copies of the black version, but I hadn't come across the white one, so that was really cool to find. Let's see, we got Mobb Deep, Temperatures Rising, the original version with a different sample than the one that's on the LP, the infamous LP, and Still Shining, another non-album track. It's pretty rare as far as like Mobb Deep singles go, so I picked that up that day. Elronius, El Camille, El Perspective, Elronius from California, really dope lyricist. Bushwhackers, Caught Up in the Game, another like favorite underground single of mine, but I had a couple copies of the white promo version. I didn't have any with the Palace like label sleeve and the gold label, so jumped on that. Pete Rock and CL Smooth, Lots of Loving, and It's Not a Game on the B-side, a non-album cut promo version. Onyx, Last Days, promo version. Milkbone, Keep It Real, famous for the Jay-Z and Big L freestyle on Stretch of Barbito that everybody knows. This was the instrumental they played. Really dope single. WeBI, Fresh Fruits, local underground hip-hop single that I didn't have. And this is the best thing I actually found from this guy. A lot of people don't know a lot about underground hip-hop or random rap, but this is a pretty rare record. It's a Missing Link compilation. It's basically like an EP. Actually, it's almost more like an LP. It's got like 13 tracks on it. A few interludes though, but this is like a pretty high-dollar record, and randomly was in this guy's crates with no other hip-hop one day, and I just didn't know how to react. I saw this, man, and it's in great shape too. Really dope. That's probably my best find so far out of like all this stuff. 2 other things that I've already gotten rid of, I've already traded off, but I found from the same guy. I got 2 copies of Smith & Wesson Soundboy Burial promo single, which is the only way to get the Soundboy Burial instrumental, and it's a pretty expensive record. So I got 2 copies of it from this guy, and it was wild. One of the copies wasn't even in the sleeve; it was just loose. But another friend of mine, who's a pretty incredible DJ, he does a lot with vinyl, and he'd been looking for it. He's big into the Rec Records catalog, so I ended up trading those copies for another record that I really been looking for, but that's why I'm not showing you those. I also got the Serious Trip EP at that flea market, which is another like pretty high-dollar record. I ended up selling it for I think about $100, but I don't have that anymore, so I can't show you that. Alright, so these next ones, these are all thrift store records. We got Organized Confusion Stress single, Souls of Mischief 93 Till Infinity, Mobb Deep, Hell on Earth, Souls of Mischief, That's When You Lost, the clear blue wax. This copy's pretty well worn. I mean, the sleeves got writing on it and stuff like that, but it's $1, you know, and plays great. Okay, so this is a white label. This is a white label 12-inch, and I really like these because it's kind of like the air of mystery. You don't know what it is. If you're lucky, if you're at a record store, you can check it out, put it on the turntables to see if it's something you want. But if it's at a flea market or a thrift store, you kind of like maybe take your chances just based on the other records that are in there with it. This ended up being Mobb Deep, 3 cuts off the Hell on Earth album as a white label. I don't know if it's a bootleg. I'm really sure what the deal is with it, but it's More Trife Life, Man Down, and Can't Get Enough off the Hell on Earth album. We got this white label promo / test press. I guess it's just a promo. Showbiz and AG, Fat Pockets, video remix, and Silence of the Lambs remix. It's another single I had, but I didn't have the white label version. We got Kings of Swing. This is the Way We Rock the House, and Something for the Blunted. This copy was actually sealed. This is like one of the more rare Kings of Swing singles. This copy was sealed, and a lot of times when you get sealed records that are that old, they're warped. This one's not, so this ended up being like serious come up. Same day, I got 2 copies of Bloodshot, Blue Black, produced by Sean C. and Nobody. 2 of my two of the underground producers that I always try to pick up pretty much anything that I see their name on. So this was actually a want list record, and I had 2 copies of it. Then we got another kind of rare underground record, Biaze, Just Parlay, and Mind Flow. We got Eric B. and Rakim with Juice, Know the Ledge. This is like the alternate cover, or like the plain cover. I've got the picture cover, but I didn't have this version, which is kind of dope. It's got the movie poster on the back. And then we got another one from the same soundtrack, Big Daddy Kane, Enough Respect, another one I was looking for. Then we got this, it's like a test press. I think it's like an unreleased type of deal. I think this only came as a test press, but it's OC, Word Life, and Fat Cat's Bigger Fish by The Coop on the other side. And I think these are all like radio-friendly selections from those albums. But it is kind of rare, like somewhat sought after. Definitely something I didn't have, so picked it up. We got 2 copies of this Omniscience Touch Y'all single. These guys, I don't think their album officially got put out. It even says from the debut album, The Raw Factor. I think it got put out years later, like more recently, but this single's dope. It's remix has got Sadat X on it, one I didn't have. We got Paradise, single off the Deep Cover soundtrack, which is another record I've been looking for. I think this usually goes for about like 10 or 12 bucks, and I don't know, I just I couldn't bring myself to pick it up on Discogs, and it's just like one of those that I hoped I'd find, so I picked that up for $1, which was great. Last 2 from that thrift store, got Spice One, America's Nightmare, 2 LP promo, and actually more appropriately, it was a 1 LP promo when I found it. I looked through all the other records, and the second record wasn't there, but I figured, you know, it's $1, and worst case scenario, like the cuts that were on the record that was in there, I would definitely, you know, maybe play at some point. So a lot of times I'll buy stuff and it's incomplete, hoping that I'll find the rest of it. Well, little did I know, about 2 months later, was at a local record show, and one of the vendors there had the second record. And I asked him about it. I told him how I found, you know, record 1 at this thrift store, and he like acted like he'd never heard of this place I found it at, and I didn't have any reason not to believe him, but so I bought the other record he had. I took it home and thought it was cool because you can see this record's marked number 17. My record was marked 17, so I found its mate and like happily reunited. That was really cool. And this is the last one I found at that spot. It's Showbiz and AG, Soul Clap, Party Groove EP, the first press with the picture cover. Unfortunately, it looks like it got stuck to another record at some point, so this cover's kind of torn, but record's in great shape. Was definitely like not complaining. Alright, so the rest of these I'm going to show are all from record stores. And I've been traveling a lot for work, so anytime I go to a city that's got record stores, I try to take a decent amount of time to just kind of like check out all the record stores I think might have something I need, or might have stuff I'm looking for. And yeah, all right. So these are all ones I picked up on like work trips. I got a Il Crook, self-titled single, some like underground joint from, I'm trying to remember where this guy's from, New Jersey, I think. It's somewhat rare. Cool, definitely like a great dollar find. An OTS Click, world renowned, produced by DJ Spinner on Official Joints. Rocking It, one of my favorite old school singles, which I actually needed a double of, so this worked out great. Mr. Voodoo, Crime Life. Newer Mr. Voodoo single from Natural Elements, not like one of the real high dollar ones, but still pretty dope, produced by Alchemist. Brick City Kids, formerly known as, and futurely known as The Artifacts, with Brick City Kids and What on Ghetto Gold. There must have been some kind of label politics going on where they couldn't call themselves The Artifacts, but it's definitely them. It's dope, pretty cheap when you find it too. Narcotics, Nevertheless, and Real Heads produced by Groove Merchants, which I believe is Godfather Don and Juju from the Beat Nuts. Dope single though, one I've actually been wanting to found that in the dollar bins. Doxman, Magnetic Attract, and Spontaneous Combustion. The shop I found this at is pretty savvy with underground records. The only thing I could think is it had a couple like small marks on it, so maybe they just thought that people would be snobs about it because it had a couple scratches on it. But honestly, it sounds great for a dollar record. I was really happy with it. Then we got Storm the Unpredictable, MCs Be Killing Me single, Still in the Shrink. This dude's from Northern Virginia. It's pretty dope. Kareem Jamal, Ghetto Appeal, and Peel on Rising on Official Joints. Even though it's not marked, both sides produced by Lord Finesse, which I thought was definitely made it worth picking up for $1, and it's pretty solid too. We got Kamikaze, Spread It, Remix, and Snakes, both produced by Marley Marl. Really dope single. The Bridge 95 single was for a lot more money and is super dope, but I like this almost as much, and it's usually like a $3 to $8 record or something like that. And I find it somewhat often. I've given copies of this to people just because it's so dope and I like to spread the love, but found that. KGB, Bless Your Life, and the remix. Really dope. Wu-Tang affiliate, 12-inch. Lin Q, Let It Fall. Actually ended up finding 3 copies of this sealed. And I only had the plain like white promo without the sticker, so I've been looking for this version, and pretty happy about that. Let's see. Okay, so these next few, these ones are up like pretty rare. I got this Gotham Kids The Coming in Denver at pretty nice record store in Denver that was pretty up on their hip hop stuff. Like they pretty much knew what they had. But like always, I had to go through the dollar bins, which is pretty much all 12-inch singles. And this was in there, like a almost perfect copy, still in the shrink. I mean, the vinyl's like pretty much mint. And let's just say it's a lot more than a $3 record. I'll just say that. So like I kind of had to do a double take, and sure enough, I mean, it was just in there with those other records, like unmarked. So $3. Situations like that, if I really come up at a place, I'll try to support the store too. So I ended up buying a bunch more records there for like what they were asking. But man, that was awesome. Then I got 2 definitely older hip hop singles that are pretty rare. Double D and Steinsky with Payoff Mix, Lesson 2 and Lesson 3. This is the OG promo version, like with the etching in it and everything. This record gets bootlegged a lot, but this is definitely not the bootleg. And then we got MC Chief, Beef Box, another like pretty rare early rap single, like electro rap. Alright, so those are all like my out of town records. I'm gonna go through the local stuff because I have some really good stores in town that I try to give them as much business as I can. definitely had a few come-ups. We got Classic Elements compilation. The full compilation came out on CD. On vinyl, this is just like 4 of the tracks, but it's got a couple like really dope tracks. Found that at like a sidewalk sale in the dollar stuff. Shabam Sadiq, Arabian Nights, produced by Nick Wiz, really dope. We got the picture cover version of Funk Dubious Rock On with Buck Wild remix, which is super dope. Didn't have the picture cover. I just only had copies of the promo, so that's what I was kind of on the hunt for. And let's see, the rest of these, this shop that I got these at doesn't deal with a lot of hip hop. So they had bought a collection from somebody who actually took really good care of the records. And I think they sold the LPs, which like everybody's looking for. And they weren't selling the 12-inch singles that easily, so they marked them down. They were like 4 for $1, 5 for $1, something like that. So I found all these then. Got Deadly Snakes, Culebras de Muerta, and Wild West. Really dope, more underground single on Tommy Boy. Super cheap, but like if you see it for like definitely pick it up. Hill Figures, Not Enough Time, and The Broke Theory, which I think is supposed to have a picture cover, but doesn't. Melee Sparks, aka Rashid, Unusual Styles single, another Rashid single, Rashid and Ill-Advised, Internal Affairs, and the 1986 remix, which is super dope. De La Soul Gems, which is a bootleg, but it's got some kind of more obscure, hard to find De La cuts on it. Sheafy MCs with Tribe, Sweet Dreams, and Lovely How I Left My Mind Float with Biz Markie, which was on the Clear Lake Auditorium EP, which is pretty rare. Poor Righteous Teachers, Word is Life, and Dreadful Day, one I actually was looking forward to, so that was super awesome to find. Newark Anonymous Click, Fiending to Get It On, out of New Jersey, underground single. Mobb Deep, Scam, with the 45 King remix. I don't know the full story about this track, but I think it was supposed to be on the Murder Music album or around that time, and I don't know if it had sample clearance issues or it got bootlegged, so they left it off the album. But it's a really dope track, actually. I really like this track. We got Rashid, Never Put You Down, and my favorite, Industry Party Bum Russia, which I've been looking for a second copy of, and this copy was like mint. And we got, this is probably one of the dopest records out of those 5 for $1 records. Natural Elements, Bust Mine, and Paper Chase. Really good single. Paper Chase is my favorite on this for sure. Alright, so the last batch of these were all picked up from my favorite local store, and they're really collector friendly. Owner is like, he's a collector too, and or has been a collector, and just always seems to be hooking up like the regulars and just really pretty much anybody. So sometimes he's pretty generous with the dollar bins, and this is kind of like some evidence of that. We got another inconspicuous plain white label record, which I took down to the turntables and found out it was Houdini Friends, like a white label. I'm not sure if it's test press or what the deal is, but had to pick that up. I got this compilation in the dollar 12-inch bins, The Alliance, Things to Come, which is a pretty obscure compilation from here in Virginia. Wasn't even on Discogs when I picked it up, but I see OG Don Ninja has put one of the tracks on his channel. It's got a couple pretty dope cuts. That one's pretty rare, it seems like. We got MC Ren, Villain in Black. Sometimes I find things like this just kind of scattered around. Like I think I found like just the sleeve with the record in it, and somewhere else in the bins I ended up finding the cover. And I had to clean them both up like pretty well, but ended up with a pretty nice copy of this album for $1. Black Mongoose, Millennium 2000, and Drugs Part 2, another pretty rare single. Another inconspicuous white label that I checked out and found out was Ill Bill, Gangster Rap, and How to Kill a Cop, which is somewhat rare. Definitely worth more than $1. That was sweet. Dead Poet Society, Clockers, Kind of like an underground random rap staple. Definitely one of the dopest, like most well-known underground cuts from that era, which I didn't have. Found that in a dollar bin one day. Was super psyched about that. See Ras T, $96 Million Man. Somewhat well-known underground cut, but this is the test press, and it's cool because it's actually got the Salam Remy test press stamp on it. I just thought that was cool. We got Phones, Cruising in the Benz, and the New Yorker. This is one I didn't know much about, but just based on it being from New York and around '92, I figured there's a good possibility it could be good. I checked it out, and I actually think it's really dope. Cruising in my Benz. Then we got On the Download compilation, Volume 2, which also has a little bit of J-Zone history. One of the cuts on this was his first credited production that he was talking about in his book. So when I saw this, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. We got Call of the Wild, Rough Terrain, and Intellectual Dons. Call of the Wild was an underground crew that had a pretty popular cut called Clouds of Smoke from the Bad Boys soundtrack. And it was more like on a random rap tip. They actually got signed to Rough House. I don't think they ever put an album out, but sometimes you can find this single cheap, and it's really good. Let's see, we got another random rap, sort of rare joint. Soul Puppets, Solar System EP. Still got the sticker cover in the shrink, which was sweet. Found this like in with a bunch of like 70s soul records just randomly. Dreadnoughts, the Anthem, and Causing a Menace. This is the promo version. There was actually a picture sleeve, like a retail version of this single on Elektra. Most people haven't heard of the Dreadnoughts, but people that are more into like obscure stuff, underground stuff, probably know this single. But two cuts on this, Respect and Concentration, are only on the white label promo, which is like all clean stuff. They're all clean versions. But it's a cheap record. It's like a few dollars, and I didn't have this version. So just randomly one day I was up in the dollar bin, so kind of made my day. We got this white label. I don't know if this is a bootleg again. I'm guessing it is. Some of these are like self-released by the artist. So I don't know if Large Pro put this out, but it's 1+1, which is Large Professor and Nas. It was on Large Professor's album. I believe it was on the one that got shelved for a long time. But it's a pretty dope cut, actually. B-side, Married to Marijuana, which I think was Nori, if I remember right. Then we got Onyx, the original Onyx single before Def Jam. It's called I, and We Do It Like This, promo, which I thought was just cool. Because most people don't remember that they were actually signed to Profile. They only put this single out, and then they kind of like changed up a little bit with the bald head invasion and all that stuff. Let's see, then we got Nas, On the Real. I think this is a promo deal too. But this is like a non-album cut produced by Marley Marl. It's got Star Wars on the other side, but just Nas and Marley Marl. I felt like it's something I needed, and I was happy to find that. Then we got another one of those plain white labels. I checked it out, ended up being the Beat Nuts, Hit Me With That, which is like one of my favorite Beat Nuts tracks. So love finding that. Alright, got a few more. Picked up Necro, Rare Demos and Freestyles, Volume 3. Yeah, it's still in the shrink. Even still got the price tag on it. Tony Touch, The Peacemaker, 2LP. Let's see. So that day, basically, I found some of these white labels and like the Dead Poet Society single and like the Necro record and stuff like that. I asked him, like, when I went up to the register, I was like, man, are these, like, these were all in the dollar bin? And he's like, yeah, it's okay. So he said he bought some collection, and I guess he sold the records in it that he kind of bought the collection for, and those were, like, all the ones he hadn't gone through yet. He's like, yeah, I haven't even gone through those crates. So I was like, man, are you sure you want to sell me these? He's like, yeah, it's okay. So that was a great day. Shout outs to that record store owner. We got, also at the same place, but a different day, we got Lynch Mob, Gorillas in the Mist, promo version of the first LP. like a lot of hip hop LPs around this time, this only came on a plain sleeve until they just re-released it like this year, last year on a picture cover. Outkast, Southern Playalistic Cadillac Music, clean versions of the single. It's got the Diamond remix, which is really dope. Raekwon, live from promo single. And what's cool about this is it's got like 11 different versions of Live from New York, Live from the South, Live from Philly, Live from the Chi, Live from the Bay, Live from Atlanta, Detroit, DC, the Hood, Live from the Town. So I guess the idea was you could play this on local radio, and it was kind of like tailored to your market. Or if you were a DJ, you could play it for your, like show out for your hometown, which I thought that was really dope, especially having a Live from VA on there. Then we got YG's, entirely produced by Pete Rock, this EP. This is the dirty version, or the explicit version, which Jason talks about these guys in his book too. It's kind of entertaining. Apparently some pretty scary dudes. But I had the clean version, but not the explicit version. This one's a little harder to find. It's like somewhat rare, somewhat desirable. That was in the dollar bin one day, which I couldn't believe. We got Maestro Fresh West, Fine Tune the Mic, which has Showbiz remix on it, which Showbiz actually raps on. Not AG, just Showbiz. This was a cool find, Cool G Rap 456. I didn't find the whole LP in the dollar bin, but they had the cover and one of the records, and actually all the inserts were still in it. I guess because it wasn't complete, they didn't want to sell it for retail or whatever. What's cool about that is I actually had this album, and the cover on my copy was kind of ratty, so I ended up getting like this awesome condition cover and the inserts, because my inserts were split. So I ended up putting together like a really nice copy of this album for like next to nothing. Above the Law, Legends, clean LP on double vinyl. I like Above the Law quite a bit, and I didn't have this album on vinyl. I had pretty much all their other albums, but not this one. And it was a clean version, and I almost didn't buy it, but I finally did. I'm kind of glad I did, because I found out later that this only came out on vinyl as a clean version. So that was really cool. Stetsasonic, In Full Gear LP, promo. I think the promo actually came with a picture cover, but this one's cool. It still had the inserts. I actually think I found this on like 5 for $1 when they were clearing out the dollar bins for new stock. So that was sweet. PG-13, Rolling with the PG, and Teenage Reporter. These guys were some like early teenage rappers from the West Coast. This thing's got production by DJ Slip and Unknown from like Compass Most Wanted fame. Kind of rare. We got Rascals, Cash Crop, Dreaded Fist, Clockwork, Fit and Ready, Rascals from Canada. That's pretty dope. Ghostface Killah, Bulletproof Wallets, clean version. People sleep on clean LPs, but some people know this, some people don't. The clean version of Bulletproof Wallets, there's 2 versions of the clean album, which I guess was kind of like released for radio play. This version has got 2 cuts that weren't on the retail release. I don't know if it was because of bootlegging or because of sample clearance, but 2 like really dope cuts that weren't on the retail Bulletproof Wallets. I think it's The Sun and The Forest. I could be wrong about the second one. But the other version of the clean album has 1 or 2 cuts that also weren't on the retail LP. So to see this, Bulletproof Wallets clean, definitely pick it up if it's cheap. It's really good sound quality too. Then we got J-Zone, Music for Tu Madre. Just talking about the J-Zone book. Found that in the dollar bin. It was pretty cool. Lionsgate Alliance compilation from '93. Got a couple dope cuts on it. Kind of rare, somewhat rare. And finally, we got Pharaoh Monch Desire. This is another one that came out in this kind of like inconspicuous company sleeve. I guess it was promo. I think it was promo only. But first I thought that maybe this was just a single, and I saw the double vinyl in it, and I figured I'd pick it up. I got home and looked and realized that this never came out with a picture cover, so this is the LP version. So that was pretty sweet. Anyway, those are like some of my dollar bin, flea market, thrift come ups, because that's the kind of stuff that really kind of gets me jazzed. And one thing I will say is, if you find stuff in the dollar bin at your record store and you strike gold, definitely support that store. I usually try to buy some full price stuff too, to kind of like spread the love. But anyway, hopefully I'll do another video soon about some other pickups. But just thought that was a cool topic that people might appreciate. And peace.